The last idea, I think, is the most abstract idea and the most important to understand in some ways, and it's the idea of space. The space you occupy in an organization or in a relationship with another person. One thing I've learned in my career is that no matter where you are, there's always someone above you and there's always someone below you. You can even be at the top in one part of your life and at the bottom reporting up to other people in a different part of your life. For instance, you can be at the top and the head of your family household. You can go to work a couple hours later after breakfast and work in the middle of your organization, reporting up to others. And later in the day, you might have a medical problem, end up in a hospital, and really occupy a space that I think of as more vulnerable at the bottom of this type of hierarchy, where you're highly dependent on the doctors, nurses, and staff around you for information and for care. So even in a single day, you can be in different roles, at the top, the middle, the bottom. And at different times in our career, we can find ourselves in these different spaces. Why is this important in the Bradford and Cohen model, is the question. I think it's very important in terms of diagnosing the needs, the concerns, the interests, the currencies, the values of other people before we engage in a negotiation or an exchange with that person. Let's think about the different pressures and currencies that might exist for people at these different levels. At the top of an organization, for instance, you have someone who's making decisions all day long, often making decisions without adequate information, making decisions in situations that are ambiguous and have no right or wrong answer. They're juggling lots of people, lots of calls, working long hours, and their work environment, I think, can be classified as complex. Knowing that, understanding it, empathizing with it, helps you understand what you might offer them in a give-and-take situation. I can use my own boss as an example of this. He's an extremely busy man. He works 7 days a week, very often 12 hours a day. And when I go to see him, I know that I need to take him not just a problem, but also a solution. Because time is the greatest currency for him. My job is to get his input, to influence him to help me in certain areas, and to do that, what I bring him in exchange is he can delegate tasks to me. I come to those meetings prepared with a list, and I get through the list quickly. I don't waste his time, and I don't bring open-ended issues that could be solved, or at least a suggestion be offered instead. This is a kind of complex give and take that works, I think, when you are negotiating or trying to have influence with somebody that's really occupies that space at the top of an organization. Let's think about the middle. Most of us are somewhere in the middle, and this can be a pretty crazy place or space to occupy. It means you're reporting up, sometimes many layers, and it often means, too, that you have to be the translator and report downward to people below you what the people above you are saying, asking, demanding, wanting, etc. Very often the people in the middle are the busiest people in some ways because they're the people doing a lot of the work. At the bottom of an organization, if you really think about those people at the bottom, these are the people that are most vulnerable. They're doing a lot of the work like those in the middle, but they have the least authority. They're making the fewest decisions. They often don't feel that they can influence very much what's going on around them. So thinking about the middle and the bottom of an organization, you can start to think about what might be important to those people. At the bottom, in my experience, people just want to be recognized, appreciated, and given meaningful work. If possible, they'd like to have greater security. They need information. And those are things, if you want to engage in an influence process with them, that you might be able to offer. In the middle, people want clarity. They want to know what the people above them want and need and expect. And they need to know how to interact with the people below them if they're translating ideas and policies for those people. So think about the pressures and the currencies of people at different levels of an organization before you engage in some sort of influence or exchange process with them. And remember this too, I think this is very often forgotten, that the people in the middle and at the bottom of an organization are in many ways the least expendable people, the most important people in the organization. They're the ones doing the work, and the people at the top literally will fail without the people below them. This gives people in the middle and bottom of organizations, I think, more authority or more potential for influence than most people realize. So the question we ask ourselves in relation to space, the idea or the concept of space, is what has value not only for individuals, but what has value for people who occupy different space in an organization? What has value for people at the top, typically, in the middle, or the bottom, typically? Is it time? Is it reputation, bottom line? Is it access to a budget? Is it getting help or being able to delegate to others? Is it clearer expectations, appreciation, a greater sense of security? Those things are different for people at different levels in an organization.